Well, hey there. Today we're in the studio. We're talking about love language number 2. This is part of a series on the 5 love languages. I'll encourage you to check out the links below for that, or to check out the book from Gary Chapman on the topic. It's a great book. Read along with it. And we are on language number 2. So Tracy, you want to explain what that is?
Okay, so our second language is about quality time. So quality time means you're spending time with your loved one. If that's your language, then you want meaningful time with your spouse.
Okay, so what would that constitute? If my spouse had quality time as a love language, what is it? Are we talking about a certain number of hours in the day that you have to spend? Like, I got to log this. I know some of you out there might be saying, well, I know this is my wife's love language, so I got to pay attention to this video because I need to know what am I supposed to do here?
Okay. We are not asking you to log your hours and think if you get to the 3-hour mark, that counted for quality time.
Okay.
Quality time is about doing something with meaningful connection.
Okay.
So you're talking, you're relating, you're going out to dinner, you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
You're talking about kids or future plans or an upcoming vacation.
Yeah.
But it's about connecting. So it doesn't matter where you are, but that you're actually connecting in a meaningful way. Mm-hmm. You're not just in the same room.
Okay. So what would a meaningful way to connect be for a woman? If a woman has quality time, typically, we don't even mean to stereotype, but typically, what would you say? And small groups and mentoring relationships, you can talk about this on your own about, and really determine what this means. But what are some examples for women?
So for me as a woman, I would say quality time to me, it's a very different experience for you to take me on a date. Mm-hmm. So we go to dinner. So you're in the mindset of, most couples, I hope, aren't sitting at the table at dinner just on their phones, though that happens. But that we both go into that experience knowing this is going to be a time to connect and to talk, to catch up. What's been going on? How are things going? So going on a date, out to dinner, going shopping together could be meaningful because, again, you're driving in the car together, you're talking, you're planning, like I said, planning an upcoming trip or some future plans that you have, you're building a home together, whatever it is, but you're connecting together, thinking about your future, thinking about your life together, and bonding over that.
So what about I could just hear the husband out there right now. I'm going to try to go to bat for you husbands, where you just say, I can't stand small talk. So that's me. So
it's not small talk, hopefully.
Okay, yeah.
If you're thinking about with your spouse.
Well, what if it is small talk? Like, what if a wife says, no, that is quality time for me. It's just small talk. I want to talk about your day. I want to talk about the weather. I want to talk about what the vlog I'm reading or watching or whatever.
Yeah, so I think, again, going back to this whole concept of love languages, if your spouse's language is quality time, then you do and talk about whatever he or she wants to talk about. So even if for you small talk seems like, going down the list of the things that happened with the kids this week, I hope that's not small talk to a husband and a dad, but it might be. But if that's the language of your spouse, then you just kind of have to recognize, even if you think that some of that's fruitless to talk about, it's important for your spouse, so therefore you do it. If that's how they feel loved and connected to you, then you small talk. You talk about the things that they want to talk about, which maybe for you would be to say, what do you want to talk about today? Don't go into it thinking you have to have like some great grandiose plan, but just say, well, how are you? What happened this week? What do you want to talk about?
What if one of the guys out there finds out that his love language is quality time and the wife is trying to figure that out? And is this fair for a guy to say, I just want you to sit down on the couch with me and watch football on a Saturday?
If that would be your way, then yes. So I know a lot of wives.
That's fair.
That could be fair. Okay. Because what many wives might do then, if it's not really about connecting and talking, but you just sitting there watching NFL football all day, then maybe she's doing Sudoku, or she's knitting something, or she's doing something else that kind of keeps her engaged, but she's sitting there with her husband and hopefully wants to have a heart to learn about the game if she's not familiar.
Well, I think about our own daughter, our 16-year-old daughter, and after dinner we'll sit there a lot of times after dinner, and recently she
wants that time of, she calls it family time, just connecting, talking.
Yeah, but a lot of times she's just there doing her homework.
Yeah, she just wants to hear us talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
either us talking or us sitting there present with her,
Right.
reading. Everyone's sitting there doing their own thing, but in her, what we're picking up is in her mind
That's bonding.
That's bonding
Yeah.
for her. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. She's more introverted. She doesn't want us probing and asking a million questions, but that's part of her
Right.
feeling like she's loved and
Yeah.
part of something.
So again, I think with all these love languages, if that's the language of your spouse, if your spouse says, my primary language is quality time, then ask your spouse what that means exactly. Is it just being on the couch together, or is it about connecting?
Yeah.
Because it can be defined a little differently, but I would venture to say that for most people, quality time, there needs to be connecting, talking to it. Because a lot of couples are going to distance themselves real quickly if all it is about watching TV together.
All right, well, that's the second love language, quality time. Now we'll put some questions below so that you can talk about this with your family, with your small group, or with your mentor. Make sure to talk through some of that, especially if your spouse has this as a love language. Make sure that you understand it
Yep.
from his or her perspective so that you can begin to love him or her more in that love language. And then we'll see you in the next video when we talk about the third love language. See you then.